I never thought my life would play out like a Western showdown. But here I am, Jack Harlan, staring down the barrel of family drama in the heart of Arizona's sun-baked valleys. For 30 years, I've scrubbed floors and fixed leaks at Mercy General Hospital in Phoenix, blending into the background like dust on a desert road. Folks saw me as the quiet janitor, the guy who kept things running without fanfare. But beneath that humble exterior, I'd built something bigger: quiet investments in ranches, commercial strips, and tech startups sprouting up in the booming Southwest. It started small, a foreclosed property in Tucson back in the 90s. Flipped for profit, then reinvested. Over time, it snowballed into Harlan Holdings, a portfolio worth north of $300 million. I kept it under wraps, not for secrecy's sake, but because I believed in earning respect through actions, not assets. My daughter, Emma, was my world after her mom passed from cancer when she was just 10. I raised her in our modest ranch-style home on the outskirts of Phoenix, teaching her that hard work and kindness trump flash any day. She grew into a sharp, compassionate woman, earning her degree in environmental science at ASU. That's where she met Ryan Caldwell, a slick Stanford grad from a family of Silicon Valley venture capitalists who'd relocated to Scottsdale for the tax breaks and golf courses. Ryan came from money, old tech money, the kind that buys Teslas like groceries. When Emma brought him home for barbecue that first time, 18 months ago, I could sense the divide right away. We were grilling steaks in the backyard, the Arizona sun dipping low, casting that golden glow over the saguaro cactuses. Ryan shook my hand firmly, but his eyes flicked over my faded work shirt with Jack embroidered on the pocket. "So, you're Emma's dad," he said, like he was piecing together a puzzle that didn't quite fit. "She mentioned you work at the hospital. Must be rewarding, keeping everything operational." His tone was polite, but laced with that subtle condescension I'd heard 1,000 times, folks assuming my job defined my worth. "Yeah, 30 years come next month," I replied, flipping a steak. "Pays the bills, and I like being useful." Emma jumped in, beaming. "Dad's the heart of that place. Ryan. Everyone relies on him." But Ryan just nodded, pulling out his phone during dessert, apple pie from the local diner, and I caught him discreetly searching hospital maintenance salary Arizona. The figure he saw, around $40,000 a year, seemed to ease his posture, like he'd slotted me into a neat, non-threatening box. That was his first mistake, assuming the surface told the whole story. Over the months, the slights piled up like tumbleweeds in a windstorm. At Emma's birthday gathering at a trendy Scottsdale rooftop bar, Ryan introduced me to his buddies as Emma's father, who handles ops at Mercy General. Not janitor, but vague enough to skirt the blue-collar truth, like he was shielding them from embarrassment. His mom, during a family brunch at their sprawling estate with views of Camelback Mountain, asked if I'd feel out of place at their planned wedding at the exclusive Desert Ridge Resort. "It's just a different vibe. You know? More formal than what you might be accustomed to." I brushed it off with a smile. But inside, it stung, not for me, but for Emma. I saw her wince each time, her shoulders tightening as she defended him. "He doesn't mean it like that, Dad. It's just his world." The real gut punch came 3 months before the wedding. They were house hunting in the upscale Paradise Valley area, eyeing a stunning adobe-style mansion with red tile roofs and a pool overlooking the McDowell Mountains, $2.5 million tag. Ryan kept boasting about his family's connections for the mortgage, how they knew the lay of the land in these gated communities. I tagged along quietly, listening as the realtor, a sharp woman named Lisa Ramirez, showed us around. At the end, She handed out cards, and when she reached me, her eyes widened. Wait, Jack Harlan? From Harlan Holdings? You've got properties all over the valley. Ryan's head whipped around like he'd been stung by a scorpion. I waved it off quick. Must be a mix-up. I just work maintenance at Mercy. Lisa frowned but let it go. My bad. You look just like him. Ryan relaxed. But I noticed a new wariness in his gaze. Like he'd glimpsed a shadow in the desert heat. From then on, the wedding prep turned tense. The seating chart came via email, me at table 14, tucked in the back near the service entrance, far from the head table. Emma called it logistics, but I knew better. Ryan wanted me out of sight, a relic from a world that clashed with his polished image. I could have blown up then, but I'd learned patience from years of watching markets rise and fall, from mopping up messes no one else would touch. Instead, I prepared. I had my attorney, Karen Ellis, draft some papers. And I cut a cashier's check for $950,000, enough to clear their student loans and down payment on that dream house. But as I stared at the wedding invite, with its fancy cactus motifs and gold foil, a separate note slipped out. Guest etiquette guidelines. Keep talk light. Avoid shop talk that might not land with professionals. Remember, many are industry leaders. Translation: don't embarrass us, Jack. That night, Emma called. Dad. About the tux, Ryan's folks offered to cover the rental, just to make sure it matches the theme. I paused, gripping the phone. I can handle my own threads. Honey. Her voice softened. I know, but this crowd. It's important to Ryan. Important to fit in. She meant to hide the janitor dad. Emma, are you happy? I asked. Silence stretched like the endless Arizona horizon. Of course, Dad. Why? But her hesitation said otherwise. That's when I decided this wasn't just about me. It was about showing her that real love doesn't come with asterisks. The wedding invitation mocked me from the kitchen counter for weeks, thick, embossed paper evoking southwestern elegance, complete with turquoise accents and a scent of sage. I'd stare at it over my morning coffee, black and strong, in the same chipped mug I'd used since Emma's high school days. The etiquette card was the kicker, a subtle reminder that in Ryan's eyes, I was a liability. But I didn't rage, I reflected. 30 years of invisibility had taught me that true power lies in restraint, like a monsoon building over the superstition mountains. Emma and I had always been close. After her mom's death, we'd navigated grief together, long drives through the Sonoran Desert, talking about dreams under starlit skies. I'd sacrificed weekends flipping houses to fund her education, but never let on about the growing empire. Why? Because I wanted her to value grit over gold. Now, watching her bend to Ryan's world, it broke my heart. His slights weren't just insults, they eroded her confidence, making her question her roots. A month before the big day, they closed on the Paradise Valley house. Ryan called it their fresh start, but I knew Harlan Holdings owned the development, quietly acquired years ago during a market dip. I could have revealed it then, but timing is everything in the West, where patience wins over haste. Instead, I focused on the gift, that $950,000 check, meant to ease their burdens. Yet, as the wedding neared, Ryan's anxiety peaked. At the rehearsal dinner at a high-end steakhouse in Old Town Scottsdale, he pulled me aside amid the clink of glasses and laughter. Jack. Listen, he whispered, his breath laced with whiskey. Tomorrow's a big deal, investors, tech execs, even a state senator. Just keep it low-key. Yeah? No stories about hospital shifts or anything that might not vibe. His eyes darted, like he was herding a stray calf. I nodded calmly. Got it, Ryan. Family first, but inside, a storm brewed. He wanted my silence, my disappearance in plain sight. The next morning, I dressed in my rented tux, simple, fitting the guidelines, but slipped the check into my pocket. Karen, my attorney, met me for coffee beforehand. You sure about this, Jack? She asked, her voice steady as the red rocks of Sedona. Life-altering, sure, I replied. She handed me documents, property deeds, lease templates, all ironclad under Arizona law.
No loophooks.
Just clear terms for tenancy if things went south. The ceremony at Desert Ridge was picture-perfect, adobe arches draped in bougainvillea. The phoenix sun warming the air without scorching. Emma glowed in her lace gown, a vintage turquoise necklace from her grandma adding a touch of family heritage. I walked her down the aisle, my heart swelling with pride, but Ryan's glance at me was fleeting, almost relieved when I took my back row seat. Vows exchanged. Rings slipped on standard. Heartfelt. Ryan's dad, a venture capitalist, gave a toast about merging worlds, but his eyes skipped over me. Cocktail hour brought the first crack. I sipped iced tea by the bar, the resort's fountains murmuring like hidden springs. One of Ryan's Stanford pals, a guy named Alex in a tailored suit, sidled up. You're Emma's dad, right? Ryan says you keep the hospital ticking. Tough gig in this heat. Before I could respond, Ryan appeared like a ghost town sheriff. Alex, meet Jack.
Dad.
Maybe head to your table? Dinner's soon. His smile was tight, but his eyes screamed, vanish. Actually, I said evenly, wanted to give you this first. I pulled out the check. Ryan's face lit up like Vegas neon. $950,000? Jack. This is...
Wow.
Emma will freak. Alex whistled low. But then I added, heard you whisper to your best man earlier, something about the best gift being if I just faded into the background. Ryan froze, color draining faster than a monsoon flood. That was... nerves.
Jack.
A joke. Guests nearby paused, sensing the tension. Emma approached, her brow furrowed. Dad? Ryan? I kept my voice steady, just clarifying what he meant by embarrassing presence. The string quartet faltered. Ryan's parents pushed through, his mom gasping. What's this about? Ryan stammered, misunderstanding. Pre-wedding jitters. But the dam broke. Explain it, I pressed. The crowd grew, whispers rippling like wind through canyons. Ryan's voice rose. Look, Jack. You're a janitor. This is executives. Leaders. It gets awkward. There it was, the raw truth, hanging in the dry air. I took back the check, tearing it slowly. Pieces fluttered like autumn leaves in a breeze. Gasps echoed. That's when Karen stepped in, her presence commanding. Jack. Traffic from downtown was brutal. Ryan's dad frowned. And you are? Karen Ellis. Ellis Law Group. Handled Jack's affairs. Her firm was top tier in Phoenix, known for big real estate deals. Eyes widened. Then Mike Torres, the resort manager I'd worked with on upgrades, joined. Mr. Harlan, great to see you. Your company's HVAC install saved us last summer. Company, Emma whispered. The revelations cascaded. Harlan Holdings, the ranches, the donations to local hospitals, and environmental causes. Ryan's world tilted. But I wasn't out for destruction, just a reckoning. The torn check lay on the resort's terracotta floor like scattered poker chips after a bad bluff. The cocktail hour had morphed into a spectacle, guests circling like vultures over a fresh revelation. Ryan stood there, his Stanford poise crumbling under the Arizona sun.
This
This is a setup, he muttered, eyes darting between me, Karen, and the growing crowd. No setup, I said calmly. Just consequences. Emma clutched my arm, her voice trembling. Dad, what's Harlan Holdings? I turned to her, my heart aching. It's what I've built quietly.
Honey.
Started with one fix and flip in the 90s. Grew from there. Ranches in the Verde Valley. Strips in Mesa. Even stakes in solar farms out near Yuma. Karen pulled out papers. Your portfolio's diversified. Jack, real estate. Renewables. All above board. Per Arizona statutes. Mike Torres chimed in. Harlan Holdings upgraded our entire system here at Desert Ridge. Energy efficient. Cut costs by 30%. Ryan's dad, Victor Caldwell, stepped forward, his venture capitalist facade cracking. If you're this Harlan, why the janitor act? I met his gaze. Because work has dignity. Victor. Mopping floors taught me more about people than any boardroom. The mayor of Scottsdale, who'd been mingling, approached. Jack Harlan? Your foundation funded our water conservation project last year. Anonymous donor, that was you? I nodded. Whispers turned to murmurs. Ryan's face paled further. But the house. We just bought it. Karen smiled thinly. Actually, the development's under Harlan Holdings. You closed with our subsidiary. Congrats on the purchase, but wait.
No.
It's a lease option. Per the fine print. Emma gasped. Dad. I explained gently. I wanted to gift it outright. But after Ryan's words. Now it's a rental. $7,500 monthly. Standard for Paradise Valley. Security deposit. 2 months. Ryan balked. We can't. That's insane.
Victor intervenait. Son.
Watch it. But the damage was done. Guests, including Ryan's investors, overheard everything.
Dr. Elena Vasquez.
Mercy General's CEO. Joined the fray. Jack's not just staff. His donations built our pediatric wing. $10 million over the years. The applause started slow. Dr. Vasquez first. Then Karen. Mike. Soon, the whole reception clapped. Not for drama, but for the underdog's rise. Ryan looked shell-shocked. As dinner commenced, the energy shifted. People approached me with respect. Mr.
Harlan.
Let's talk solar investments. Emma sat beside me, relocated from the head table. Why hide it?
Dad.
Tears glistened. To teach you worth isn't wealth.
Emma.
But Ryan's attitude. It hurt you more than me. She nodded, glancing at her husband, who picked at his plate alone. Post-dinner, Ryan cornered me by the fountain. Jack. I screwed up. I assumed. Assumed what? That a janitor couldn't be more? My voice was firm but not cruel. In the West, we judge by character, not colors. He hung his head. How do we fix this? The house. The job. Clients were here. I handed him the property deed. Start with earning it. Month-to-month lease. Prove you're worthy. The reception dragged on. But the magic was gone, replaced by a raw, uncomfortable truth. Cake was cut. Toasts made. But eyes kept flicking my way. By midnight, as guests departed under the starry desert sky, Ryan's humiliation was complete. Social media buzzed. Secret millionaire janitor humiliates groom at AZ wedding. But I wasn't reveling. My goal was growth, not glee. Sunday morning. My phone exploded. Reporters from the Arizona Republic. Forbes Scouts. I ignored most. Sipping coffee on my porch, watching the sun rise over the mountains. Victor called. Jack. About Ryan. He's reeling. Clients pulling accounts after last night. I sighed. Actions have ripples. Victor. He paused. Any way to soften this? For Emma? Softening enables. Let him learn. Emma showed up Tuesday. Eyes puffy.
Dad.
Ryan got let go. His firm cited judgment concerns. We sat in the kitchen. The same spot we'd shared countless talks. I'm sorry you're hurting. Honey. She glared. Are you? This feels like payback. Not payback, a pivot. Ryan needs to build his own path. Tears fell. We can't afford the rent now. I squeezed her hand. Then find what you can. Real marriages weather storms. 3 months passed. Ryan knocked one crisp October morning as I washed my old Chevy truck. He looked gaunt. Humbled. Jack. Got a job, construction oversight for a solar project in Tempe. Not glamour, but honest. I handed him a rag. Good. Earned. He nodded. Emma pushed me. Said it's time to build real. We worked in silence. Then he said, I apologize to you. To Emma. I was blind to your worth. I accepted. But added, prove it. Join Harlan Holdings entry level. Learn the ropes. His eyes lit. Really? Probationary. No favors. Years blurred like heat waves on asphalt. Ryan started at the bottom, managing rentals, fixing fences on ranches. He grumbled at first, but grit emerged. By year 2, he handled deals solo, negotiating solar leases with that Stanford smarts redirected. Emma thrived too, starting a conservation nonprofit funded partly by my foundation. Their marriage deepened, forged in trial. 5 years post-wedding. At a family barbecue, my grandson tugged my sleeve. Grandpa, what do you do? Ryan smiled. He builds futures. Buddy, one honest step at a time. We shared a nod. The past a distant mirage. The lesson? Assumptions blind us. Respect unites. In the West, true wealth is character, and redemption's always a sunrise away.